Hello and welcome to what is the penultimate crossover of the Nerdist School Nerdy Comic Book Podcast. Hello, I'm Trevor Reese.
And I'm Chris Fimbres.
And we represent the podcast of two worlds. And joining us, as always, for this are...
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And I'm Chris Lord from Timm Talk. You should have introduced yourself as Cameron Dexter from Timm Talk.
No, I'm not. I don't associate myself with that podcast. And our last guest.
I'm the Frank from the Novice and Frank. The Novice, Amanda Barnes, is not with us this evening.
We should mention that she is now Mrs. Amanda.
That is correct.
She just got married.
Congrats.
She did it. She did it. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony.
Did you go for the garter, or are you...
You know, they did not do a throwing of the garter at all, or of a bouquet.
Oh,
did not do either of that.
Was that a conscious choice, or just
I believe
slipped away?
So. Yeah, I believe so. They did a very just cool, very fun evening. That was
Paint us a word picture of it, Frank.
well. I mean, of course, it's at the museum, so the Natural History Museum. So you walk in there, and it's already like one of those like you get to hang out in a place that you don't normally get to hang out in after hours. So it already sets a really cool vibe. They go and they do their ceremony in one of the wings. And then they didn't do like you went right from the ceremony right to the reception. There wasn't any like, hey, we're gonna go take photos. So just kind of occupy yourselves for 30 to 45 minutes. It just kept on rolling. They had a good sense of momentum. The ceremony was short. They wrote their own vows. They had Matt Craig did the ceremony.
Nice.
Yeah. So and it was a nice combination of very touching and warm and also funny. And it struck the right balance.
And how many people objected when the moment came?
Everyone
Everyone.
stood up. It was like, whoa! all
Enough
right.
is enough.
And then they did they came on. They did the dance, and they had practiced. They had choreographed their own wedding dance to a variety of songs, ending up with the "Time of Your Life" from Dirty Dancing, and they did the dance from the movie as their wedding dance.
Awesome.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
nobody puts Amanda in the corner.
No, she said that. She wanted her husband Mike to know that. Like, just no, this is not happening.
What a way to start up a marriage.
That's true. It was a lovely evening, though.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Amanda, we're sorry you're not here, but congratulations.
Yeah, at various times we'll leave like 2-minute gaps, and then we'll get her to record some thoughts that we can just plug in there.
Well, but this is the perfect movie for a bros night out.
Men.
We're
talking
just sweaty muscles and fighting gladiators. It's wonderful. What everyone thinks. Buns, Hulk buns.
Oh,
Yeah.
big old nice green buns.
Yeah. They were meaty.
Rival Nightwing?
Nothing rivals Nightwing.
But okay, now that we have gotten Hulk buns,
Yes.
how much does that raise your anticipation for the eventual Nightwing movie for his buns?
I mean, my anticipation was already immense. It's a lot. All depends on the casting, though. Like I was seeing that was the guy from Power Rangers and Stranger Things, Dacre Montgomery. I guess his
Ugh.
name getting thrown around. I'm like, nah, no. I've seen him with long hair. It doesn't look good.
Well, what we know from the Hulk buns now is that they can CGI fairly decent buns.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Well, those have to be
real.
100% authentic.
You gotta
this-
slap those hams.
This is Mark Ruffalo and mocap. Do we think those are Ruffalo buns?
Just enhanced.
Yeah, just Hulkified.
I mean, they ruffled my feathers, so it was fine.
Oh, first pun.
Oh, Amanda, where are you?
This is the first 2-minute mark. Cameron?
I loved the movie. Are we still talking buns? Or are we
We're
good?
all over the place, all over the place. Why don't you kick it off with non-bun related thoughts?
Oh, God, I loved this movie so much. I was lucky enough to see it a week early with a group of Disney people, and it was one of
We get it.
yeah. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm pretty big in the Disney community. No, I'm not in the slightest bit.
Let's pump that up. What's your handle?
No, I'm not.
All right.
I'm not plugging right now.
What was the Disney thing that you got a week early screening?
One of my friends invited me, and it's like the Disney blog, I guess. They have a Twitter, and for every Marvel or for every Disney movie, they'll kind of, if you tweet at them on a certain day, they'll release like 200 tickets to an early screening. So we got to go down to the the Disneyland theater and got to see it.
Oh wow!
And it was really cool. They gave us like little head things. We got like a big photo op opportunity.
Couldn't
cool.
get
It was fun.
couldn't get 4 more tickets though.
No. I mean, I could. I just kind of wanted this to myself.
Wow. Being a real Loki there, Cameron.
Yeah, you know, every podcast needs a villain, and I'm going to take on that role for this one.
Speaking of Loki, how great was Matt Damon Loki?
Amazing.
Yeah. I actually had that spoiled for me
No.
by another podcast.
Bastards.
Unfortunately, because they heard a rumor that was a thing and they mentioned it on the podcast. I kind of knew it was going to happen, but for me the greater cameo in that scene was the guy playing Thor. Did you guys catch who that was?
It was the non-famous
Young Hemsworth, right?
It's
No. So not Thor, but Odin. I said Thor. I meant Odin.
Sam Neill.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Sam Neill.
Yes, I was. It took me a second to realize who that was, and then I was so excited when I realized
Dr.
that.
Alan Grant. Until I realized it was a whole cameo thing, I just sort of for a second was like, damn, Sam Neill, you've really fallen off. That like this is what you're
Right.
getting is like the cameo. But then I saw the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, and he was in The Hunt for the Wildebeest
Yeah.
and everything. It's like, all right, cool, I get it. Like, but I had to cry. So one time, total side note, but it involves Jeff Goldblum. I was at this event, Campus Movie Fest, one year, and Goldblum's like been involved with it since the beginning, only because they illegally used his Apple commercial to sell like their first thing. Like started on a single college campus, and then for the event I was at, he was there, and he had us basically play like the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing.
Oh yeah, he does that when he performs at Rockwell.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it was super funny because everyone started off with him. He's like, all right, and then name someone else. And someone said, Sam Neill. I was like, all right, someone name a movie Sam Neill was in. And it was silent. Just a pin
Oh
drop. Because
my
we used
gosh.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it was just deadly silent. It was so funny. But I've always sort of had that like anxiety about Sam Neill's career since then.
I would
He's
have.
Alan Grant.
I would have thrown in Hunt for October and see if you could
Oh,
then find
yeah,
a way.
yeah.
Ignoring Jurassic Park, can you find your way back?
That's good.
Event Horizon.
Yeah, Event Horizon. Him and the fish.
Yeah, that's it. Now I'm in troubled waters with my Sam Neill.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah. It falls off.
The important
Shit.
thing though is, do you think that those characters made it off of Asgard?
No. No, I don't think they did.
No. Nobody cares about those actors.
Yeah, just they had a big party after the show. They passed out in a dungeon somewhere. Someone forgot to wake them up.
And all of a sudden they just wake up as Surtur's blowing up the foundation.
Do you think in the brief time Hela was there that she would recreate the play and insert an actress of herself in there?
Okay, then let's jump off that. Who is Hela? Who is the stunt casting cameo for Hela?
Mila Kunis.
No, I like that. That's good.
I'm gonna go Aubrey Plaza.
Oh.
All right. Keep it in the Marvel family with Legion.
I'm going Sam Neill in a dual role. Right? He needs it, guys. Come on.
Oh wait, no. The obvious answer here is Laura Dern.
I'm gonna go with Helen Mirren.
Just for everything.
Yeah, Helen Mirren. That's what I'm going with.
I feel like I really like the movie, but I don't know if I love it. I feel like there was things that I tried to do that didn't quite stick the landing. Like as much as like I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did a better job of having humor, but then sticking you with that nice emotional landing at the end. And I don't feel like Thor got that. I feel like there were things in there that I felt like I should feel more about, and I didn't.
Well, they kind of like address the fact that like kind of how shitty Asgard is because of them. And it almost feels like it's commentary on the previous two Thor movies. So I think now, like, because Taika Waititi, Chris was telling me this, he said like if he comes back, he more wants to make Ragnarok 2 than Thor 4. And so I think it's something that would be built on. Now he has his group of people, his family that he created, that possibly we can get something that James Gunn got. Because yeah, like there's like the Warriors 3, boom, 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 gone, gone, gone. And who gives a shit? We didn't even notice last movie that Chuck replaced. Replaced that guy.
Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam.
Ooh,
He said,
Shazam.
fuck it, you want to go do DC? Go.
But I thought that was interesting that he was able to get all those actors back and say, okay, we want you back just for literally like a second, and they get
Did
killed off.
Chuck say a word?
No.
I
Nope.
don't think he
He grunted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that enough to get residuals?
SAG?
Yeah,
Is it-
that's- is that
anyone
enough to get
SAG
SAG?
eligible? Who knows that?
Yeah, I don't think this movie was for the Thor character. I think it was for the Thor franchise. Like I don't think that's why they left out an emotional punch. Like, oh damn, I really feel for that now. It was just more like, hey, we need to get this franchise in a different place. Something
Yeah.
a little more exciting.
Yeah, but even like with like the banner stuff, he does set up that whole thing where the stakes of what happens if he goes and reverts back to the Hulk again. And the moment in the movie, I felt like it didn't, his decision to kind of turn back into
Yeah,
the
he
Hulk.
didn't it was obviously a situation where he felt he needed to do it, but you don't see that crisis of
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I'm basically like sacrificing myself for people, because then he just face plants.
Which was fucking
Which
hilarious.
was a great, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, do you, so I feel like in the first two Thor movies, I haven't watched them in a while, so I'm basing off memory. Thor was the character that you laughed at instead of laughed with.
That's
Do you
what
think it's
yeah.
okay for them to change the character like that? Because this is a
Oh.
movie where they definitely wanted you to laugh with him instead of at him.
Oh, 100. I was talking about that with my boss, like when I first saw it. Like that was the marked improvement that I noticed was the fact that it's not like, oh, look at Thor. He doesn't understand how the Earth works. Like he's smashing coffee cups. Friggin' Thor. There's Kat Denning laughing at him. And it's like, yeah, it makes it so much better when you can laugh with him and he's got the sense of humor with him. Because, like, I prefer this Thor. The Thor that we saw in this, I wish we got from the beginning.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the Thor movies. Like, I know everyone says The Dark World is like the worst of all the Marvel movies. That might be true. I don't know. I like the finale.
Could you
It's
think of
not-
anything worse?
Probably not. Okay, so yeah, so
So, point proven.
I don't like to think of it as the worst of them as much as the least best.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but no,
Positive outlook.
yeah, I try to be a little more positive, which is ironic because I actually did not love this movie. I
Bring it on. Let's hear
I
it.
know, yeah. I
Yes.
mean, I always have to be the dismissive voice here, so why why break that trend? But I think I've hit fatigue with Marvel. Like, this is now, each of the movies come out this year, I've only seen them once. I didn't really feel like I had to go watch them again. And I don't know when I will. I probably will at some point, but I've all been like, okay, that was fun. And I've forgotten them all entirely. And I feel like that was kind of the case here, too, with the exception of Taika Waititi's character. What's his name again? Korg.
Best Marvel character.
Yeah, Korg's amazing. I would watch a 90-minute spinoff of just Korg doing whatever.
Well, they were saying that they had plans to do a Marvel one-shot again with that character.
Oh, my God.
But because now Marvel's expanded to its slate of like 3 a year, they just couldn't manage it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They do have to do a lot, but I don't know.
Well, that
guys.
was what, like, when I got pulled out of it was when it became the most a Marvel movie. Like, Hela was so one note, just classic sort of Marvel villain. And yeah, it was when it was forced to be a Marvel movie was when I felt the most checked out or least invested.
That's what we talked about when we left the theater. I asked, does Hela rank up? Because the last Marvel movie we had was Spider-Man, which Michael Keaton was the second best villain we've had in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And like now that he set that bar, I think like before him, I think we might have accepted Hela as like, all right, fine, it's just a Marvel villain. Like they
Yeah.
don't get it. But now that Michael Keaton is there to kind of reestablish the Loki bar, it's like you have to put a little bit more effort into that.
Well, what I thought was interesting about Helen, I wish they would have explored more. Because I agree with you. It's just I felt like there was a lot of potential with her that was never explored.
Yeah.
That when she tears down the structure from the ceiling, and you do see kind of the real origins of Asgard. It's like so she does have a point. I mean, she certainly went to the extreme and needed to be stopped. But there was, at least at the beginning, definitely legitimacy to what her
Yeah.
beef was. And I was like, that would have been more interesting to kind of explore and have her an opportunity to be a little bit more sympathetic towards her would have been nice.
Well, and the fact, I think it's, they immediately like shy away from that tone by giving Anthony Hopkins his grandfatherly exit.
Oh,
Just
that
because
was so
like
lame.
that's the last image you get of him is just sort of fading off, and you like it's that sort of sets the tone of what Odin is, and so they want to keep it that way, so they kind of brush under Hela's.
I hate Odin in a sweater vest.
It's,
I hate it. So it makes me feel uncomfortable when it kept popping up because it was like when he would have his flashback or not like his like memory of his dad.
his Super Saiyan moments.
Yeah, and I'm like, why? Why is that your memory of your father? Like you knew him
Yeah,
your
for
entire
many-
life. That was a
Draped out as this
3-minute
God king.
segment.
We have Anthony Hopkins for one day, one costume. All right, guys.
He
suck
said
it
he's
up.
not putting the armor on.
Because like that was
He's,
another.
he's wearing what he showed up in.
That's right.
I mean, he could have even been in the silk robes that Loki was pretending to be. Although that Anthony Hopkins performance was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Loki, Anthony Hopkins was hilarious. We're just like, oh shit, when Thor showed up. Like that was such a great little throw off moment. But yeah, it was weird seeing him. Although I liked Thor and Loki in their regular clothes. Like, they
Oh
looked-
yeah, like their New York street attire.
yeah, I like them in their street clothes. But yeah, there was something
Loki's
weird about
witch
Odin.
clothes.
Yeah. So I did think it's interesting because like from the first trailer, that scene originally took place in an alleyway.
Yeah.
And then it got changed to like an open field. And I guess maybe just because I knew that as I was watching that scene, but the fact that they just changed the background and didn't reshoot it was painfully obvious to me. It looked really, really fake.
Was there a
Anyone
reason
else?
that they changed it?
There was. I don't remember what it was. but-
There's so much misleading about that trailer.
Because they didn't want the flashback to just be an alleyway.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, no, I think I mean you joke, but I think that's literally it. That's like they realize like, oh, like that only gives us so much room to like play around in, and
Yeah.
like cinematically it's only so interesting to just like have like the thing goes off and like glass shatters. Like that's not as interesting as putting it in an empty field, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess it would have been.
No.
It probably was that they go back to New York or Strange after, because it's like, how could they? They clearly shot that stuff with Anthony Hopkins, like knowing about it, or yeah, had it in an alleyway before. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was weird. Like it seemed like they wanted to have it just like immediately following Strange. He's out there because they had that whole thing. They did reshoot it because they had him in
like
homeless
crazy hobo,
garb.
but I don't think they reshot any of the stuff with Hela and Loki and Thor. I think that was all just
Oh, and then
they changed the background out, but obviously they had to redo Hopkins stuff. So I think that's part of it too. Is you could kind of tell as I'm watching it that like none of those actors were all in the same space at the same time when they filmed that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just pull me out a little bit.
Well, I feel like I wish the exit for Odin would have been more emotional. It's like, all right, I mean, this is this guy's father. When he just kind of fades off, I'm like, that was it. And even when he
Yeah.
comes back at the end and has his little, the god of hammers, it's like I still feel I feel like I felt like the movie wanted me to feel like yes, and I never quite got that yes out of that whole scene.
there was, I noticed it the second time that it's how they just kind of dissolve him. I feel like it's just like basic effects, and it's like an intern could have done that part. If they were like, if they like dove in and actually had him while he's giving the speech, like he's slowly degrading. I think just that one little like special effect shot would have really made that so much more impactful. Because now, like what we saw was just him sitting there in silence and disappears, like green screen off.
Yeah, you're just like, oh wait, you're dying now?
Yeah,
Like that was that's the feeling you get. It's just like,
so
oh, I
it's
get
like
he's
if you
dying.
see him
Yeah.
like just like small particles starting to fly over his face as
Yeah.
he's giving the talk to them. It's like, hello,
Yeah, like-
I've made mistakes in my past. I don't have the power to stop them anymore.
Yeah, like maybe as he's like, because doesn't he grab Thor and Loki's hands and like kind of leads them to the thing, like something like that, like starting at like as his hands start disintegrating as they're like holding.
No, because you see their backs.
Yeah. No, but when he walks him up to the start of his like speech, like doesn't he like take their hand or something like that? Don't they have some sort of contact?
I want to think so, but I don't
Whatever.
think they did.
But it is also nice because it's like literally if they had been 5 minutes later, they would have got to that feeling like what
Where is
happened?
he? Strange. Where?
They were late. I don't know what to tell you. What do you guys think of the Strange cameo?
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he's gotten more powerful.
Yeah, he's
since
honed
last-
his craft.
Yeah, you can see the time has passed since the movie, and that like since he is isolated now, like all the other like monks and wizards have left, he just doesn't care about kind of anyone and just does whatever he wants that most convenience himself.
Yeah. I think that's what's the best thing about Thor is more just the implication that, and with that and Spider-Man, these summer of movies have really just established how much Marvel has built its world that people can just slide in and out without like any other time. Like, oh shit, Doctor Strange and the Hulk are going to be in this movie, but it was just like, yeah, they're here. Like they're just established characters that you can just pull upon as if it were anything else.
Well, do you remember in Dark World when we had the Captain America cameo.
Yeah.
Because Thor, and that was like my favorite scene. Because I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God, Captain America's in Thor. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh yeah. Like you said, it's a full integrated universe now.
And now we can kind of have these fun combinations as things progress. I mean, now we're sort of with Infinity War moving forward, and we don't know who's going to make it out or anything like that. Like, they completely. Yeah, that's what Mark Ruffalo was saying. Like, everyone dies, is what I heard. So, yeah, it's just interesting to
Good.
see.
If you're going up against Thanos, everyone needs to die.
Yeah, whether or not they come back afterwards is up for debate. But, yeah, some people need to die.
Well, it certainly felt like in this one they were setting up that Thor's story was going to end soon. I don't know, maybe just because for me, like, it's just a weird thing, but like the eye patch was like the biggest indication for me. Like, oh, they're really trying to push him in a completely different direction so they can eventually stop using him.
Well, yeah, he's either going to die or become King Thor and just have to deal with that.
Well, you
stuff.
have to evolve his status. I mean, we've already gotten 2 movies with Odin and then Loki and that whole struggle. So just go ahead and fuck it, you're king now, dude. Like that was the next step anyway.
But that's
right?
also a good character retirement thing. If
That's true.
Hemsworth-
Actually, yeah. Instead of killing him off, he has to go and be king to his people. I just
Yeah.
really didn't like the eye patch, guys. I really didn't like it.
What, the fact that it didn't have a string, that it was too small?
I don't
What
know. It
didn't
just
you-
Chris Hemsworth looks weird with an eye patch, and I don't know. It felt like a cheap way to be like, oh, look how rough this is for him. He lost his eye. I'm like,
I thought
fucking so
because that's okay. So we were talking about the CG with the alleyway and all that stuff, and how clearly the trailer showed it a different way. And then they CGI'd his neck thing out from his cool reveal,
Oh yeah, you're right.
and they CG'd out his eye.
Yeah, they
when
got
it
me,
came-
those fuckers.
Yeah. And so that's what I thought when I saw him lose his eye. I'm like, oh shit, he lost his eye. Oh, but when he goes full Thunder God,
Yeah, when he powers back up.
gonna come
magically will
back.
get his
Yeah.
eye back.
I mean, I kind of like that they're doing that. I mean, I guess technically that's misleading, but at the same time, like, if it prevents them from giving away little details, I'm actually kind of cool with them.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
editing their way through the trailer.
But it's like
yeah.
but it's like I'd rather you guys take the effort to do something like Guardians or like what Star Wars is doing and use your footage intentionally misleading to present a different image than what you want us to be looking at.
True. Yeah.
But that ultimately doesn't feel like, well, you guys just CG'd all that. You kind of just
But
Ga-
doing that comparison to Star Wars, can Thor? I mean, Star Wars is Star Wars. It's gonna have the fans come no matter
Yeah.
what. No matter what they show, they can show fucking like Jar Jar skeleton, and fans will eat that shit up. Thor-
that's an exciting scene.
That is exciting. With Thor, like it doesn't have, especially after the last one, it doesn't really have that power to just
Yeah.
show like broad scenes and try and mislead the audience and just like get a vibe.
Well,
You need something to get the common folk to come to go to the theater.
I just saw something. AV Club was doing an article, and they were saying the title of it. What got me to look at it was why Marvel did a bad job of hiding Thor's biggest reveal, and they were talking about how the Hulk reveal. How if you didn't see the trailer, you really have no idea that it would be Hulk until it happens.
Yeah.
There's no indication, there's no tease. What do you guys think about that? Did you like knowing Hulk was going to show up going in, or would you have rather had that crazy reveal of, oh shit, Hulk's here?
I think I would have rather had it be a reveal, like, because that's a great moment in the trailer. We already knew Hulk was going to be in the movie going in. It's like, oh, this is how they're going to film in the trailer. And then you get to that moment in the film, you're like, they really are building up the suspense, and I know exactly what's going to happen. I know exactly what his line's going to be when he sees him. I was like, oh, it did lose its impact for me, I think.
If there's any bit of technology that I want kind of right now, it's to like partially erase memories. I wanted to like be like for movie purposes specifically, because I want it to be attached to like a Blu-ray player where I put in a movie and it finds the synapses that connect all those memories, and it just like blocks them for the next 3 hours. So I feel like I can experience that movie for the first time again.
Which is good that the trailers are misleading sometimes, right? Because
Yeah.
you want to experience that new shit.
Was like Guardians did a really good job. Like they established what the tone was going to be, but you had no fucking clue what the story was. Like going into it, was like I had I really thought like the gold people were going to be like a militarized threat when they're really just kind of a pain in their ass. And like you really don't understand the full scope of the story, but it felt like you really knew exactly what Thor's story was going in. It's like, all right, Hela's showing up, Thor's getting sent off to this planet. Hulk's gonna show up, and then they're gonna bring the battle back to Hela. Like you kind of knew beat for beat, with a little like misdirections here and there. Like you thought Hela was the one who destroyed Asgard with the fire, and not Surtur. But even you knew he was gonna show up too.
Mm-hmm.
Can we take a moment to go back to Cameron's really dangerous proposal of technology? Right there. Like, the implications that are absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that's gonna be
I don't see any problem with
weaponized by
this.
the military in like a
There
fucking
definitely wasn't
second.
a whole comic about partially erasing memories.
Yeah, but I feel like
You're a real sick fuck, Cameron.
sometimes you need like that second viewing to like better appreciate a movie. And yet, if you wiped your mind and you're only getting to experience that first time, you're always going to be like unsatisfied with that movie. Like, man, I don't know. Maybe I should watch it again. And you're like, oh wait.
No, I completely agree with that, because if I didn't have a chance to rewatch movies, I would still hate The Dark Knight. So,
Well, that's like you're basically proposing Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
And just a perpetually only viewing movies for the first time.
So I said block the synapses. I didn't say like cut them off completely. So after you finished it, like I could be like 3-hour time switch, and once like the ray stopped shooting into your brain, then it would be you'd be fine. You're like, okay, I watched the same movie again. Okay.
So basically, you'd be like, for 3 hours, God, I fucking hate this movie. I fucking hate this movie. I hate this movie. Why am I watching this? Why am I watching this? And then you turn it off and you're just like, oh, I've seen that 3 times. Okay, like I pieced it together now. Like it'd just be such a jarring experience.
also, if this technology existed, none of us would have podcasts.
Yeah,
Like, what would we do? We would forget everything we watched and have nothing to talk about.
What we're saying is it needs work.
It's a refining process. It's still I'm on like rough draft 3, where it's still getting worked on.
To quote the guy who pissed off Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man, take it back to formula.
I think at this point I just like alter it to become Riddler and Batman Forever.
All right. See, look already. We're spitballing.
Okay, I'm okay with that, but you have to wear the green spandex suit at all times.
Oh, I would wear that if the invention didn't work. I would still wear that suit.
No. See that and raise it. The crazy silver one at the end where his mask is just the question mark and he has that weird Cindy Crawford fake mole.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I want to see.
I
you
learned
in.
how to do like bow staff tricks because of his like spinning the cane tricks.
So not to fight or to do anything
That's
else.
the thing that got you into that? Wow, okay.
I found my dad's cane after watching that movie. Okay, it was a learning process.
You didn't pick it
I
up.
didn't
It was
have a
like
lot of friends in
sword or
middle school.
lightsaber. You're like, yeah, fucking Riddler cane.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's the best. Love it. In terms of like characters, I feel like Loki, a fun character, and Tom Hiddleston does a great job with him. But I feel like he's always been kind of one note. It's like you know what he's gonna do all the time. I kind of liked at the end of this movie, and I'm hoping that this continues on into Infinity War. Just like that slight change of character, where when him and Thor have that talk about like you can be more than just the god of mischief, and I felt like you kind of saw a slight character change, and I'm hoping it kind of goes in that direction towards Infinity War.
Well, and so much of what Kieran Gillen's done with the character over the past 10
Yes.
years, I want to see that. That's such a great way to keep Loki around, but also, I mean, you lose Hiddleston, which is obviously a big draw, but it's like, you can do Kid Loki, you can do Lady Loki. Like, they've done so much with the character, and then still reverted him back to who he is at the end of the day, but they've really invested because of Hiddleston's performance and the popularity he's brought to the character into making him a full 3-dimensional character and shown that he can work and still be an active part of the Marvel Universe and Thor.
Now, I do have a question about Lady Loki, because in the comics, that's Lady Sif, right? Doesn't he take over her body or something like that? How did that work?
I don't think so because he got busty, so I don't think he's Lady Sif.
Why did I think it was Sif for some reason?
She at the time she got her own comic.
Okay.
She was when Lady Loki first premiered, Sif took over Journey into Mystery, right? She was before Loki she was the lead of it around that time. I don't know if it matches up, but
Because it was when he was finding all after Ragnarok, and all those souls were kind of like hidden in human bodies, and they needed to be brought out. And so that's when Lady Loki was around, wasn't it?
Lady Loki was around at the end of Secret Invasion because she was at the Cabal.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
So 2010.
because that was before Siege. wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he went back to by 2011. So for 3 years.
I just think it'd be fun to see Jamie Alexander play Loki.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
'Cause, like, they keep doing these sort of things. Like it seems like whenever Loki gets to change around, like when it was Chris Evans playing Loki, playing Captain America, or like this again, it's like Anthony Hopkins playing Tom Hiddleston,
Yeah.
playing Loki. Like it'd be fun to see her get to do that too, because I feel like she's pretty awesome.
Well,
and I feel like she could do it.
She's the only Asgardian who doesn't appear. So I
Yeah.
assume she's alive.
Yeah, because I guess they tried to get her, and there's a scheduling conflict, so she couldn't make it down there. But I guess the good thing about that is that maybe she's still out there, which would be awesome.
But she couldn't make it for just one flash scene to get killed. That she couldn't make it.
Well, wasn't there the rumor? This was probably like season 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that she was going to either be a part of that show or she was going to get her own spin-off at some point.
She was on a few episodes.
Yeah.
Well, probably with Blind Spot,
Oh,
that probably
right.
took over that. Or like kind of
Marvel
squashed
just
that.
didn't like
Yeah.
buy out her contract.
Everybody's talking about Blind Spot, you guys. Everybody's watching.
It was the
That hit show.
hit show of the fall 2016
There's
or
more-
2015.
This season, there's more hidden tattoos, guys. They discover a further layer of new tattoos.
Wait, you're serious?
I am serious. They touch a thing to her neck, and she glows, and it's all these new tattoos that have been even deeper hidden on her skin.
Is there going to be a crossover with Prison Break and she
Uh-huh.
just has like an actual map?
Yes.
Wow, that's really
Yeah.
like, hey guys, we have a premise. Tattoos on her. But we've looked at all the tattoos. All right, hold on. Another layer.
Yes.
I mean, that's what Chuck devolved into.
Yeah. I mean, that's what like the blacklist is basically that new. Now I got a new list. Like it's always something like it's
Here's
weird.
more information to upload into your brain.
Yeah.
Now you know Kung Fu. Oh, now you know nothing. Now your friend knows everything. Oh, now if you know it, it erases your memories. Ooh, stakes. We're on the Friday Night Death Spot. We're
right.
trying our best to stay alive.
Cameron, I'm gonna loop together 2 ideas that we have.
All right.
Did
let's do
you
it.
get your DVD idea from an episode of Chuck?
No. I wish I could say that. Because I love Chuck. Chuck was one of my coming of age stories or coming of age shows.
All right, well, we'll put a pin on it because we need to talk about Shazam towards the end.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Remember that you love Chuck.
always.
I thought what was interesting with Loki at the end that because we see him back in Asgard and he grabs, we assume just by his look, he takes the cosmic cube with him. We've seen that like in the Avengers Infinity War, he's got it. I was hoping at the end, kind of tying into Thor and his eye patch, that he would have used the cosmic cube to repair his eye. And maybe that might be something that might be at the top of the Infinity War. I don't
But
know.
maybe that's how. No, they said he's gonna have it.
Yeah, you got to keep that. I
Well,
kind of like
does
that.
Loki want Thor to know that he has it? Because would Thor look at him differently if he knew he had the power again?
That's true. But maybe he's
Because like we are.
Also, can the cosmic cube fix an eyeball?
could. I mean, it can pretty much.
'Cause it-
well, I mean,
because
I
Well,
guess
the
in
cosmic
comics it
cube. It's
could.
the Tesseract.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So the Tesseract, because that is the space gem, right, or the space stone.
Well, then now it's sort of because originally you think, oh, Thanos. Just jump ahead to that credit scene. You think Thanos shows up because it's Loki.
Because the cube's there.
Mhm.
And he's
Well,
there-
yeah,
and he's
now
there
it's
to
because
pick it
the-
up.
Well, before I was just thinking like, oh yeah, that's right. Thanos has scores to settle with Loki. Like he said, if you fail, I'm gonna kill you.
Mhm.
And so this is that. I didn't even think about the fact that he might have the cosmic cube with him too, and that's like how he found him. So now it's like a 2 birds 1 stone thing.
I have another thing to pitch with Thor and Loki and the stone. So if it is the space gem, we know it can open portals. What if we give Thor Cyclops' power? Because didn't they say that like Cyclops' power is there's a portal in the back of his
Little
eye?
portals that open up for pure energy. I don't know. I've heard people go back and forth on that one.
So we give him a monocle that's able to redirect the power into a single blast, combine it with lightning. It's how they're going to take out Thanos.
Well, I mean, bringing up that it is space, I could see them. That's how they get the rest of the Asgardians to Earth before Thanos.
That's what I
obviously
was thinking
destroys
too,
That
yeah.
ship, right?
Yeah, because Thor gets taught from the leaked Avengers thing. Thor shows up in that story by landing on the Milano.
Yeah.
So
Amongst wreckage. So, like,
Yeah.
imagine, or Thanos just shows up and says, "Bye, Asgard. Caught you while you were slipping." Bam, and it
Yeah.
fucking blows them all up.
Ragnarok,
Bye, Asgard.
bitches.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Because that is Thanos, right? I think I read
Yeah.
somewhere that confirmation that is in fact his ship at the end there.
Sanctuary 2.
Yeah.
I do really hope he says Ragnarok bitches.
I'm Josh Brolin. Well, let's talk about Valkyrie. Or as the Wikipedia entry refuses to call it, or just constantly calls her 142.
Which is weird because like that's not a twist or a spoiler. Like everyone knew she was Valkyrie going in, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I remember reading into it, like Tessa Thompson. She steals this movie. She's fantastic, and I watched it, and she's like, yeah, she was fine, but she didn't like blow me away the way that
No.
I've been kind of led to believe before seeing the film.
She
was like
kept par
Batista.
with like how funny the movie was, though.
Yeah.
Like I never was just like, well, that I didn't land. I thought she was funny. I laughed almost every time she was on. Right?
I liked her entrance. She had a really good
Yeah.
entrance.
Yeah.
With like showing up drunk, then falling on her ass,
I
and
feel
then
like
like the
that
cool
was
thing with the arms.
a little too like different from the rest of her movie character. Cause like I love that scene too. Like, yeah, we get that she's a drunk and she has, she doesn't really like to get her hands dirty
Yeah.
unless she has to. And then the rest of the movie, we don't really see that anymore. Like we get that she drinks a lot, and we get that she's an Asgardian, but I feel like it was almost like two different like scripts almost
Yeah.
that she had.
Well, you could. It feels like this movie relied a lot on shorthand. It's like, oh, Thor shows up, so that's why she starts her character transformation, and then he just keeps poking her, and that's what pushes it
And we
forward.
do
Well,
also
she
know that a lot
got
of
the
this is-
Loki hand to the head, which kind of like woke her up, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And we'd also know that a lot of this was improvised.
Yeah.
So maybe that might have played a hand in her kind of like not having a solid foundation.
Wait, okay, I got a question. How does aging work with Asgardians? Because she would actually be older than Thor if she was there to fight Hela
Yeah, I don't
back
know.
in the day.
Well, Grandmaster said that time works weird.
He would be millions of years old.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll give you that.
But when he said that, I think he had it flipped, and that's why he like paused, because it was only like 10 seconds between Loki and Thor falling out into space.
Yeah.
But it was 2 weeks on that planet, so that planet actually moves faster in time. So him saying that he was 10 million years old somewhere else, that would actually make him like a billion years old.
Okay, so it's just that time moves. No, it'd be the time moves slowly there and fast everywhere else.
No, because
No.
10 seconds Asgard equals 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What was the planet called?
Sakaar.
Yeah, Sakaar.
So yes, the car moves faster
Yes.
than other space time.
Yeah. Right?
Plus, I mean, he's one of the elders of the universe, so they're very long lived anyway.
Yeah.
It's like an Inception thing, right? It's like when you're deeper, things move faster.
Well, everything else moves slower.
Okay, everything else. Fuck it, I don't know.
Yeah, 'cause
time.
I'm not. It's like I was tracking you the first time you brought it up, Cameron. I was just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah.
It's
Time's
the time
different,
chamber
yeah.
from Dragon Ball Z.
Because I even felt like
But then
One-
it's like,
one
but
person
how
got it.
how does
Alright,
he
that's all I
still
needed.
alive then? Then it's like, shouldn't he have died years ago in the span of like months?
who Jeff Goldblum, or
Yeah.
the collector,
Mhm.
or I mean the Grandmaster. No, he's because he's essentially like immortal.
That was what I was going to ask. Is he and the Collector immortal?
Yeah, they're like brothers, and there's also the I think it's like the gardener, and there's also the champion, who I love. The champion, he's just like a huge guy, like likes to box and stuff.
Yeah, he's been in the Thanos comics.
Yes,
And Stanley.
Okay, so
Yeah,
then, so I try to remember. Are they? What's their name? Like the name for that species or whatever, like the
They're
collector.
called like the elders of the
The
universe.
elder- Then where? So in the first Guardians, the head nowhere. Those are the
Celestials.
The
Celestial.
Celestials. Okay, I couldn't remember like what the designation was for the different levels.
And that's what Ego is, right? Ego's a celestial,
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's the Watchers that just are there as well.
and they just watch.
Yes.
because they're pervs.
That's right. But like with Valkyrie, I feel like they kind of teased like her relationship with the Hulk, which I thought was interesting. And then of course he refers to Banner, and there's like, wait, I kind of know. I don't know why he's always so reluctant to really tell her like, oh yeah, I'm also the Hulk too. I don't know why that conversation ever happens. And then we never get a really good payoff because he just jumps off the ship like, you know who I am in a minute, and then just jumps off, and we never see like, she's like, oh okay.
I think maybe that moment kind of goes to show where this movie worked and where it didn't work. Because that is a really funny moment when he lands on the deck there. But like you're right, it undercuts the relationship between the two of them, and then also undercuts like the drama of him like committing to go out and become Hulk again. So it's like it's a weird tonal imbalance a little bit.
Yeah, I imagine they probably did that just because the other ones were so serious that they're just like, you know what? Like, I mean, because honestly, what relationship do you really care about in the Thor series besides Thor and Loki?
None.
You don't give a shit about him and Sif. No, we didn't care that Natalie Portman wasn't in this movie. Kat Denning.
I appreciated that they just let it slide.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I'm so sorry about the breakup, and that was
I
that was
actually
all
dumped
the
her.
thing,
It was-
all the reference you needed.
Mutual dumping.
But going back to why Banner didn't tell her, Banner's not used to like Hulk having fans or people liking Hulk. I think like because
Even
when
that
he
was
left
something.
Earth, the last memory he had was everyone hating him.
Right.
So I feel like he would definitely want to keep that a secret.
Or he feels like he was cheating on Black Widow.
But I also wish that they'd seen, like, especially since that whole Hulk parade happened after Thor, like, hurt his feelings by saying, no, you're right, everyone hates you. And then it would have been, like, again, like, just Banner just get a second, just kind of go, like, all right, I'm feeling uncomfortable, but these people do genuinely love the Hulk. You have to deal with it, like, the fact, like, what society could be built that would think the Hulk is a strong positive force. But it would have been nice to even see him acknowledge that and use that as fuel to come to terms with who him and the Hulk are, and maybe make it easier for him to sacrifice himself again, to see that there is that potential within the Hulk himself.
Yeah.
I feel like this has really made a case for we need a new Hulk movie.
Yeah, especially I just want to give a minute to talk about the fucking amazing transformation sequence.
Yeah.
When he reverts back from Hulk to Banner, because usually that'll be like a 10-frame sequence of like you either see him start to Hulk out and then it'll cut to like a back shot where he's already Hulk, or it'll like we'll see like the clothes rip, but that was a good like 45 seconds of him.
Jacqueline hiding.
Yeah, and it was so cool seeing
Yeah.
like just like a split-second frame where he would hit the wall of the plane and he would like you'd see Banner in there. And then like we finally see the body slowly morph back into Banner. And
Yeah.
that was so cool.
That felt like the next step in the evolution of like that shot in Avengers where he does the turn punch.
Yeah.
Like that's you're right. It was a really well done, beautiful execution of even just also showing the conflict of Hulk not wanting to give up control after being at the steering wheel for 2 years.
Yeah.
Which was also crazy that they he's just been gone. He left and just whoof. You guys should have asked where Hulk was a lot sooner.
Yeah. Because I even felt like it was like that reluctance to even just let his feelings towards Black Widow come into that moment. And it's like returning back to Banner is like having to deal with those feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I fucking laughed every time Thor was just like, "Sun's getting low, big guy."
Yeah, that was.
And then there was the moment when like Banner starts to lose it again, and you see the veins come out, and they're like bright green. I'm like, oh shit! Like in this movie specifically, they really went over the top with CG veins.
Yeah. I really want, like, this is again why I want, because the Ed Norton Hulk movie ends with him getting a modicum of control over it. And, like, he has the, like, 0 days since instant thing, but he's, like, smiling as he does it. And so it was cool to, like, I want to see that evolve because they keep teasing it here and there in these Hulk appearances. Of just like Avengers, he's losing it. Avengers 2, he really, really lost it again. And this one, like, he had to wrestle with the fact that the Hulk was in control of his body for 2 whole years. And it's like, that's a far cry from Edward Norton smirking at us as he's about to transform.
Well, I think both Ruffalo and Feige have said that the Hulk, this like starts out a whole arc for the Hulk over the next 2 Avengers movies. I feel like they maybe push him more like the forefront. Because he never goes back to Banner right at that point. The movie ends with him still as the Hulk. So I wonder if we're going to end up spending all of, or at least maybe the majority of Avengers Infinity War with him in Hulk mode.
Do you think Thanos will neutralize him?
Oh.
Because it's very clear you can't kill Banner.
Yeah.
Like, unless you vaporize him, he died when he fell onto the Bifrost. He was straight up dead.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
One of my favorite lines is still in the first Avengers, when him and Black Widow are talking, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't die. I put a gun in my mouth and fired, and the big man spat the bullet out."
Yeah.
Like that's such a great representation of that.
But also like knowing that maybe Thanos just was like and like somehow like caps the Hulk in him,
Yeah.
like cages the beast in some sort of more permanent way
Mm-hmm.
to sort of like take him out of the equation.
Because I would have liked as we're talking about, like just like the ending of the film, because the Hulk is after he falls on the bridge and then he starts wrestling with Fenris. He's pretty much just like gone for the majority of the climax of the film, and then we don't even get a moment of him and Thor on the ship, like just to have him talk and say, well, Banner's no more or whatever. There's not even like any update on
Like,
the
Hulk, we're going back to Earth, buddy. What?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of missed opportunities with the Hulk, but they delivered on what we love about Hulk, and that's him smashing.
Yes.
Because he smashed the stadium, and he clearly smashed some poon.
Yeah, but I felt like that last fight he didn't. I mean, he was just like in his own separate thing, and it didn't really matter. It's like, oh, you're just with this wolf and whatever. It doesn't have to do with anything.
Yeah, I mean, talking about CGIing things in the trailers, right? In the trailer, we have that shot of all 4 of them across the Bifrost together, and that never happens.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Hulk never comes back up to join them for the fight. Like he's down fighting I'm just gonna call it the direwolf. I don't know what it's actually called.
Fenris.
Thank you. Down in like the water, and then the ship takes off, and I think he just leaps from there straight up onto the ship.
He grabs him, right, and then jumps up.
Yeah. He punches Surtur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because remember, there's where he's like,
Come on, big monster guys. I feel like we
I
should
gotta.
punch him.
Can you just once not smash? but
I'm just gonna cut you off. No, I mean, how dare you? No, because that's actually one like a mislead they did really well. Like you think there's gonna be this massive like fight between the 2 of them, and it's just one brief moment.
Yeah.
And I really like that actually. Like, no, we're gonna let this happen. No, god damn it, Hulk. No, stop it. Come back. We're leaving.
Speaking of one single lines that would have immensely helped things, I wish someone had just said, "Hey, when Hela kills someone, she takes their weapons." Because that bitch was just throwing knives.
Oh, is that what happens?
No, but it's just like, I don't know what happens. She just can throw knives willy-nilly. Is that
I thought she was the goddess
Like,
of
I know.
knives, right? Was that
Yeah.
not her power?
It's just like, I wish they just had one little explainer line to just give her some context to why she has infinite
Or like,
knives,
oh yeah, she
infinite
could
swords.
use whatever weapon kills a man because
Yeah.
she's a goddess
well,
of
I
death.
find it so interesting that how similar her and Loki are.
Mm-hmm.
Because Loki also can just kind of pull knives out of. I assume they're in his sleeves, but basically they look like they're coming from nothing.
Yeah.
But when in the opening scene when she's talking to him and Thor for the first time, like, oh, you remind me of Dad. Talking to Loki, you don't look anything like him, which is so bizarre because like neither parent was black haired. She has black hair. Neither parent is like a knife wielder really, or like practices blades. And then you have Loki, who's the only blade master. Like I'm very curious why they have so many parallels besides both being villains.
Yeah, it would have been nice just to hear Odin be like, "Oh, she kind of reminds me of you, Loki."
Yeah. I mean,
Like that's why I took you was to try
You
and
reminded me of her.
redeem myself through you for my mistakes with her.
I mean, is she Odin's first?
We find out she's also a frost giant.
Yeah, or maybe there's also that to it. Maybe
She's
there's
actually
also,
what's Korg? What's his race?
rock
people.
people.
Yeah,
Rock
she's a
people?
rock person.
Fuck you, miss.
Well, I did like I get it for Tom Hiddleston and the whole scene in the Gladiator arena where the Hulk makes his first appearance.
Yeah.
Just all of Hiddleston's reactions in there, I thought were phenomenal.
Yeah, from oh shit to
Yeah.
fuck yeah, that's how it feels, Thor.
I gotta get off this planet.
It was kind of fun to see him on edge. He always plays it so cool all the time, and here he's like a coward, right? He's like a coward. He's panicking in that moment, but even later on, he's acting kind of cowardly in a way that he hasn't really before.
I think the Grand Master turned him out at one of his orgies, right? he kind of just kept looking at Loki like, yeah, and Loki was kind of like shaking on edge, like, oh god, I'm sorry, sir, you know.
Which is like he thought he was the god of mischief. Then he met Jeff Goldblum.
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh, I thought I was the master, but I'm merely the student.
yeah, can we spend some time talking about Space Goldblum because he's amazing.
He
in
was
this.
perfect.
So perfect.
Just his hobby of making music.
I want that like little music clip of the birthday song when he pressed the button on the spaceship and all the fireworks go off. Like I want that as my ringtone.
See, the music This is the first Marvel movie I've ever wanted to hear the score again. Not just like the Guardian soundtrack or anything like that. Like Mark Mothersbaugh did an amazing job on it.
Well, and he's even cited that, like that viral video from a while ago. I think we maybe even talked about it on one of the podcasts. The idea that all the Marvel scores are just kind of throwaway and kind of inconsequential. And I guess he listened to that and so really tried to take a different approach. And so I've actually gone back and listened to the Giacchino scores. So Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, actually both really good. But it's also Giacchino. It's always amazing.
Yeah. He's like a Danny Elfman, John Williams. He craps out.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
I
But
know,
did they
amazing
have
stuff.
any Willy Wonka in it? That was fucking amazing.
That was so bizarre. Yeah, what?
Right?
The
Again,
weird cover.
weird Jeff Goldblum. He's like, all right, so I have a vision of how I'm gonna welcome people, and just this whole weird Candyland experience.
Yeah, well, it's ripped straight from the boat scene in Willy Wonka.
Oh, for sure. But it's just also just thinking in character how Jeff Goldblum's character came to that conclusion of that was the best idea. Like it just shows how insane this guy is.
Yeah. I hope that's like the only movie that he owns. Like he watched that movie after living a million years and was like, I've been doing it all wrong.
It just fell out of the sky, out of one of the holes, and just like, Master, one of the scavengers found this. My God.
What I would have loved, since we do know that like portals just open anywhere, just like a small callback, since this is a very 80s themed film, if they would have had the golden record that we shot up into space in 78.
Oh, yeah.
And he would have like, that's how he would learn like Earth culture was from that stuff. Because like a DJ kit is a very Earth thing. And there's all those like small things you have.
Well, he
That's
must
very
go to
presumptuous.
he
That is
must
an
go to the same electronic shop that Peter Quill goes to.
Yeah.
There's this space Radio Shack, space Guitar Center.
Yeah.
They just have all the
vintage
stuff.
Earth
Yeah.
electronics.
You don't think aliens could learn to DJ on their own, independently of what we've done on Earth?
Well, if they did, I think the equipment would look cooler. It wouldn't look like the normal boring turntable.
That's very true.
I think that's a very philosophical question, Frank. Can the beat be dropped in anywhere in the universe, or is it simply a human?
Can the beat be dropped without gravity?
Ooh.
I think the funk is universal, baby.
All right then. And that's another cue for Amanda. That's another Amanda
we
moment.
We need you. We need you here. We haven't talked about Carl Urban at all.
Scourge.
That's
did you
because I
guys-
don't think any of them talked about Carl Urban.
Yeah, I mean, what did you guys think about that? I mean, I love Carl Urban. I was glad that he wasn't just like, I mean, he was kind of a generic henchman who gets his own. He basically had like the Mayday arc, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I liked him though whenever he was on screen.
But it's like it's cribbed from Walt Simonson's run of Thor, where he goes and goes down to Hell and stops everybody, stops Hela's army from attacking these Asgardians who are trying to pull out of Hell, and it's set up. This I feel like is such a watered down version of the emotion that is in that comic book story.
Okay,
'Cause you
interesting.
really feel like his sacrifice and like the fact that what he did like goes on into tales are sung and told about his sacrifice forever. And this I felt like it was just like the most watered down version. For me, I was like seeing a weak imitation of what it could have been like a really powerful moment.
No, I think that's fair.
But there's a lot of spinning plates in this movie, and I don't know like how much time do you give, the executioner to
Just give him a shake weight.
Yeah. That was great. I guess his first scene was amazing, where he's got like all the stuff lying around, and he's like the antithesis of Heimdall in that job. It was fun to see that. But I guess it's a good point. Like you almost feel like they could have just had that and then not really had him a presence in the rest of the movie, and it still would have worked.
Or just be like, it felt like they did that scene, and then at some point between when he showed up again, like appeared on screen again, they decided, oh, let's give him an emotional arc.
Yeah.
Because it would have been fun to just see that guy just kind of not give a shit and just be surrounded by all these weapons, just trying to get fucked and just like, oh, hella? Hell yeah, let's have some fun. Like, I mean, I get, because it was interesting to see him have heart and be confronted with the fact that he's turning against his people to do this and all that stuff. That was really interesting, but considering they didn't have enough time to pay it justice, then why not just go full blown and just kind of be like super psychotic?
Yeah.
Because that's not really something we've really seen in Marvel movies, aside from like that loose cannon henchman, is someone who just really fucking loves what they do.
So
And
you
doing
think
bad
he should have
stuff.
killed that old lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he should have been making quips. I think he should have been really into it. If they were, because you're right, they didn't have enough time to really service an emotional arc. So just go the other way and just let him be that fun Scourge we meet in that opening scene the whole time, and just have unapologetically be an asshole.
Yeah, I think that might have been better because I feel like at the end when he makes that sacrifice, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's really overly foreshadowed. Like you're building towards it, you're building. Okay, we know it's gonna happen. We know it's gonna happen. Then it happens. Was I also the only one who found like the scene of him just unloading 2 assault rifles a little distasteful?
Dez and Troy.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I guess it was fun when he just like made the joke about it at the beginning. But I guess this is the first time we've ever had a character in a Marvel movie just go like balls out with a whole bunch of guns.
From Texas.
From Texas, yeah. It's like I think the joke in the beginning was playful, but in the end, it's like, well, now you're just doing the sort of thing you were making fun of in the beginning, and it kind of bugged me, that scene, weirdly.
Well, it's also like, those weren't enchanted. Those weren't anything. They were just 2 AKs he got from Texas. Like, it would have been cool if he just like, and I enchanted them with these ore bullets, and it doesn't lock up. It doesn't need to be reloaded. Something like that to show they're like enchanted. So yeah, it kind of takes the distaste out of it.
Yeah.
Because just like, yeah, it's cool guns. I mean, yeah, it's a little weird image, but they're magic guns. Like, that would have made it a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, it seemed like they were subverting something and then just did it later on.
Although in the comic book story, that's how he does go out. He's using assault rifles.
Oh,
that scene,
okay.
so-
See, maybe I should read some comics and I would understand.
It's overrated, Chris. It's overrated.
Yeah, you
Don't
don't
rot
appreciate.
your brain.
Yeah,
But also the Walt Simonson in like early 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, so different time.
Different time.
it's
man.
a
It was
slightly
cool.
different time.
It's not post Vegas shooting. We're just like, maybe we don't need Scourge to be shooting all those assault rifles.
The fight scene with Thor and Surtur at the beginning of the movie. I felt like that was probably one of the best Thor fight scenes that we've had.
Oh,
in
yeah.
all his films.
And as soon as the music hit, I got pumped.
When he drops the hammer inside the dragon's mouth, I loved that so much because we get that joke in all of the short Thor clips. Like my favorite one is when he's living with his roommate Daryl, thank you, and he leaves the hammer on the toilet seat. And I'm like, I love that, and I'm so happy that they were able to transition that into like a comedic movie moment.
I was
now I'm
bummed we
just-
didn't get a Daryl cameo, huh?
Yeah, you can't even get a little throw out to Daryl, like just shot on the streets. Hey, Thor, like he could have been with them in New York, hanging around with Strange. That could have been fun.
But I did love when that first battle sequence happened with him and Starter at the beginning. Like I think I actually said out loud, like, what? Like it was just so crazy. Like the fact that we followed like Mjolnir as it's going around, like spinning around and
Yeah, that
taking
was
everyone
awesome.
out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I love too that if you hadn't necessarily seen a lot of the other Thor movies, you didn't know that character well, that they established really early on how critical Mjolnir is to his success. Like that is really him just being perfectly utilizing that weapon all time. So we understand why it's a big deal when it gets taken away from him.
But then also the freaking callback to that scene when he realizes his power and he's on the Bifrost and they bring it back. And you just see
yeah.
him fighting the exact same way. Like it almost feels a little bit like shot for shot. He's
Yeah.
copying his same moves from that scene, but now it's his power leading him as opposed to Mjolnir being the driving force of
Yeah.
it. Like I thought that was cool because for a second I'm just like, oh, they're doing the song again. Like I mean, yeah, I liked it from the trailer and everything, but then you realize like, oh, it's because they're recreating that scene purposefully.
Yeah, they're going back to it.
Yeah.
Also, he looks awesome when he's just like lightning out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why I don't like the eye patch. Because for me, short hair Thor is hottest Thor, and then you put an eye patch on him and it just
I do agree. I liked him better. I like him
Not the
better with
same.
the short hair for sure.
yeah, short hair.
100%. Like I never want to see long hair Thor ever again.
No.
And the kind of like half cape action. I was down with that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, the half cape.
Yeah, I was all in for that one, and I did like it with Mjolnir when he's in Stephen Strange Sanctum Sanctorum, Sanctum Sanctorum.
Sanctum Santor. Yes.
Yes, and it just kind of walked.
Santeria.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
just literally
Sanctum
crash and
Sangria.
Smash, yeah.
Oh, yeah, when he called Mjolnir. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
He goes Mjolnir goes out on a solid joke.
That's true.
And we see that he was cared for by Thor, the Team Thor movies, when he put him in the little bed.
Yes.
And
Oh,
then
right,
the
yeah.
picture of him holding like with the sunglasses on and all buff.
Yeah.
And then he's holding a little Thor. That was still like that makes it the most tragic loss in that movie. Is Mjolnir like also that shows the depth of characters that they had made previously. That Mjolnir is probably the hardest blow to you as a viewer.
Yeah.
Certainly
That
more than
depth.
Odin. So
Yeah.
I'm very curious how Vision's going to take this news.
Oh yeah.
The only other person to wield
Yeah.
the hammer.
That's true. I'll be curious if the reformation of it is part of Infinity War. I feel like you can't.
I kind of hope we see some freaking solid ultimate Thor hammer.
Oh, maybe.
Well, 'cause
Is that the axe?
Yeah.
Have you been to the Guardians ride at Disneyland? Or
Mm-mm.
California Adventure. Jesus. They have. I'm sorry.
I
It's
thought you
been a
were
long
big on.
fucking
I thought you
day.
were big on the Disney scene.
No, I'm gonna take this hat off.
yeah, to clarify, Cameron's wearing his trademark Air Herc hat, and he's not wearing a Disney shirt this time, so it's less embarrassing, but not much.
If you when you're in line, you can see in one of the cases they have a case that says Asgardian hammer or Asgardian axe, and it is the ultimate Thor.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
sweet.
That's cool.
Well, recently they've introduced. I think it was Rick Remender with Uncanny Avengers, but they have introduced like the proto weapon that Thor used originally, Yarnbjorn.
Yes.
It's this like sweet looking axe. It's like a two-hander like axe scythe.
It is
Oh,
cool
that's
looking.
cool.
Yeah, but that's what he went back to, I believe, right?
He's using that now,
Yeah,
too.
that's what he's using now since he's lost Mjolnir to Jane. Spoilers.
Whoops.
So I had a question, and I might just have my time frame off a little bit. Thor says at the beginning, and I think he says it a few times throughout his movies, that Odin crafted the hammer for him. But when we see the big mural in the ceiling, we see Hela holding the hammer, or at least holding a hammer that looks the exact same. Did the hammer exist before Thor?
Well, if these movies have proven anything,
Timeline doesn't matter.
No, Odin's a damn liar.
That's also very true.
Yeah.
So I think that's more likely anything more so than like continuity errors. Just like Odin's a liar. We saw it. We visually showed it that he painted over the past.
Yeah. But he also says that the hammer was used to kind of control his power. Can it control was it like the thing that was keeping Hela's power in check as well? Like before that, she just shot out hammers instead of knives.
Yeah, but I felt like if she wanted something that helped
She
control
was
her
the
power,
goddess of hammers.
Yeah, then why would she destroy it though? I guess.
Well, maybe that was like Odin's thing for a bit. Like, oh, I'm gonna help my kids channel their things through hammers.
Never the hammers, Dad. Ugh.
But then Loki came around. I was like, he's not my son, so that's why he gets knives. You're gonna get a cool Odin son hammer. Is her last name Odin daughter?
That's true.
Hela Odin daughter?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
Food for thought. In
Well,
the
is
patriarchy.
it considered a last name? Because he doesn't really say Odin's son in the movie. He always says son of Odin.
Well, it's in the comic books they've established that as his last name. Over the
Okay.
past couple years, they've kind of said like he's Thor Odin's son. Just mostly because there have been more Thors popping up, so they kind of need to differentiate it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he has a last name. He's like
Yep.
Madonna or Cher.
that's true. Although I mean,
Prince.
I am
Eminem.
excited to see another Thor movie after this. So
Yeah.
if you give Taika another shot at this, I would love to see what he does with it. And
Absolutely.
all I would want to see out of it is Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah. Well,
You
now
saw the
it's like-
cameo, right?
Well, he was one of the sculptures on the side of the
Yeah,
building,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, which I thought was so cool. To see that, to see the Bi Beast, the guy with the two heads. I thought that was really cool. And it looked
Yeah.
like, was it Ares? The guy that had like the helmet? I couldn't quite tell if it was maybe Ares. Trying to figure out who like the one of the right above the Bi Beast. He was kind of wearing like a Spartan helmet, but I wasn't sure.
I think I heard that in one of the reviews that I watched. That they went over all of them, and I should have taken notes and did not.
Damn it.
Way to go, Cameron.
I expected you guys to have this under control.
I don't know why you would have thought that.
we're
we're the DC fanboys over here.
We host a show about the Flash. Why would we need to know about Marvel? Haha, Frank.
That's right.
Whoops.
We watch
Amanda.
cartoons. Why should we know
Yeah,
about
so,
comics?
okay. Here's Amanda, clip number 3.
There you go.
Amanda explained the context. Who was everyone?
Yep.
Pause. All right, good. We
Great
got it.
job, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Oh my God.
Applause
Yes.
all around.
Nicely done.
Now the listener
You are no
knows.
longer the novice.
No, that's right.
Congratulations.
You are the Frank.
That's right.
All right, so we're winding down. Final thoughts.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let's do final thoughts, and then there was some news today that I think this would be an interesting group to talk about.
Ooh,
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, we can get to news
I
as
love a
well.
delightful tangent.
So, did you guys see today well, I guess it's not really rumors, but like Fox apparently is looking to sell their film and television properties and like their whole slate to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Basically
Yeah, I heard that.
Everything?
Everything
Except the news.
Yeah, news and sports. They're
Yeah,
keeping.
you keep that shit.
Yeah.
I would welcome that with open arms.
Fuck
to be able
yes.
to see.
Well, so I mean, I guess there's a price to pay, right? So we could get now the Fantastic Four. We can get all the X-Men in the Marvel universe, but
Fuck the X-Men for Fantastic Four. Like, I mean, they've done such a great job of building the X-Men out of necessity into its own thing that now
Yeah.
it would just feel super confusing. But the Fantastic Four, oh my god, yes.
no, and I completely agree with that. Like, there are some great Fantastic Four stories out there. I would love to see them get incorporated. Like, Marvel will do a great job with it. But the other way of looking at it, though, is what's the cost of that? Because Disney, even through its other divisions like Buena Vista and that sort of stuff, pretty much never does R-rated movies. And Fox has had success with Logan and Kingsman and Deadpool. So what happens now when all those properties are owned by Disney? Will they still make those kinds of movies?
Touchstone Pictures comes back.
Also, Legion. How could Disney handle? Like, Disney doesn't really do dark TV. Like, would they keep Legion the same way, or would they even keep it at all?
Well, but that also might just be FX.
That's part of the deal too, and all that, right?
Yeah, but keep it away from Jeff Loeb, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
no, but I meant there's so many people involved in that.
And
I
they're
feel-
just so successful where they have to. I mean, if you dumb all those down, people aren't gonna like it. And it's not gonna be the same movies.
Yeah,
so I think you just have to like create your own R-rated side of it. Throw fucking Blade and Ghost Rider and all this shit hard R's. So then you
and the
can still-
Netflix stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It just becomes an interesting idea, right? Because I mean, I guess like the Marvel Netflix stuff is, I think it's considered ABC Studios, but I think it's just purely
And so,
because it's
maybe they'll just make Fox Studios a subsidiary of Disney Corporation.
yeah, they probably will.
That's
but
probably what they'll do.
It's just an interesting thing to think about because you can even you could make an argument that both Marvel and Star Wars have gotten just a little more Disney-fied over the
Ooh,
years.
No, I know, but you know what'd be awesome is if that happens within the next 2 years, we could theoretically have Episode 9 with the full flair.
Okay, now I'm back on board for this because you're right. If there's one thing that has been missing from Star Wars, it's the Fox fanfare.
Yeah, you kind of, growing up as a kid, you kind of don't realize that they are two separate things.
Yeah.
And that's what's so disappointing about these last two Star Wars movies is that it doesn't have the Fox flair to it.
To this day, for me, if the Fox fanfare ends and it doesn't pop up with, a long time ago, Galaxy Far, Far Away, I'm always a little disappointed.
Yeah. All right, well then so obviously this is building towards eventually it's going to be Time Warner and Disney
Yeah.
or will be the two.
I think Time Warner will outlast Viacom.
All right, so
Because right now, like,
Viacom's
TV
now the
is
dark
3.
horse.
Yeah, right now we have 3 studios that basically run all of media.
Yeah.
No, I like this idea because I feel like Marvel's in a good place in terms of their films. They're letting the directors put more of their personality into it now. So I feel like the Disneyification of it may be just more like the merchandising and all that stuff that we're seeing coming out of that. But I feel like the films themselves, we're starting to enter a really interesting time and seeing. And like Black Panther, I cannot wait
Oh, for
to
sure.
see
Oh,
what that's
yeah,
going to be
yeah,
like.
yeah.
That is going to be really cool. And once we get the Avengers Infinity Wars, those films done, I feel like Phase 4 is going to be really cool to see, where we can just get like little touchstones, like you were saying earlier. You can get a character come in for a few scenes and then dust off, and it's not like everything's building towards like another huge epic. I don't think Marvel's going to go back down that road again.
No, I think they've realized the success of just like making it like and that's what's been successful about the CW stuff is the more you treat these properties like actual comic books, the more successful they are. And so building in sequential storylines, the way comic books are, that is what the main success of this is that it's a continual universe that builds upon itself in each individual iteration, but it's building this whole thing. And that's been Marvel's success since the beginning. Like the first issue of Spider-Man has the Fantastic Four on it.
Yeah.
It was built as an integrated universe from the start. And so this weird splintering of like Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and X-Men and all those characters has made it weird, but Marvel over time has been able to compensate for that by just presenting stuff the way they've always presented their stories as sequential serialized stories.
Except for the Inhumans. Oh, that was
Oh god, yeah.
Fuck
Did
the
anyone
Inhumans.
bother to watch that? Anyone
Nope.
here?
Okay,
I've wa-
wow, man, I got through the first 3, and I was just like, I can't watch this shit
You
anymore.
are a saint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, that's
I didn't want to believe. I was like, no, people are shitty, and they just want to, you know what I mean, throw a lot of fucking dirt on this. But no, they were right. Everything they said, like the acting and the dialogue, nobody fucking cared while making this. I feel like they're like, I just fucking do it. It was bad.
Well, because they set up a world where they introduce people with cool powers, and then the first 2 episodes are them stripping them of their powers. And we
Well,
get
then
like
what's
we're
the-
talking about like cool futuristic technology, like DJ boards and stuff. When they decide to cut Medusa's hair, they just use like barbershop clippers that you
Clippers.
find on Earth. Like,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
it.
right.
That was it. Oh
my God.
it's terrible.
So I'm trying to remember. So Black Panther's next, and then is Infinity War the next one after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, next summer.
Holy shit! Oh, because then wait. So then it's after Infinity War. Is it Ant-Man
and the Wasp?
2?
Yep.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Next summer. Yeah, like July, I think.
And then what's the...
And then
So they won't have a holiday movie then.
And is Captain Marvel before Avengers 4 or after?
yes,
I
it's
think it
before
is.
Avengers
That's
4.
19, right?
Yeah. And then because I think that year is also Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that happens right after Infinity War. That's the next.
Well,
film
but
after that.
Spider-Man also doesn't count as a Marvel movie for their slate.
Yeah, it does.
No, because they still did 3 this year, right? Or no, I guess that works.
Yeah.
I mean,
Your Guardians,
It
Spider-Man.
counts because I think it took. I feel like it took someone else's slot.
because yeah, in terms of the storytelling, it's like
Yeah.
that's going to introduce like Phase 4 and what world looks like.
Well, it took
That.
when they were gonna make the Inhumans movie, and I think it took.
Well,
that
yeah.
slot,
So I
right?
think
Oof,
I feel like it
thank
took.
God.
Actually, I think it took the Thor slot, which then got pushed out till now, obviously. And then I don't know if they always had a third plan this year. Or if
So then next year is just
is it?
Black Panther, Avengers, and Ant-Man?
I think it's just 3. I don't think they're doing any more than 3.
Yeah, that's what their slate is
yeah,
now 3
then
a year.
so 2019 will be. We just said this. I've already forgotten. It's gonna be Captain Marvel. It's gonna be Spider-Man 2. It's going to be because I
and
think
the conclusion-
Avengers is Avengers 4 2019 or 2020.
I think it's 2019, right?
2019.
Yeah.
Oh, then Avengers Infinity War is 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only 2 they have confirmed for 2019 are Captain Marvel and Avengers 4.
And
Well, then,
and then Spider-Man will be out. I guess that's because they like a Sony release, but it'll be out after
yeah.
that summer after.
What
Infinity
about Venom?
War. Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but
If
I-
anything could save that, it's this Fox deal.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, but again, like I don't give a shit about a Venom movie.
But no, that won't make a difference because Venom's Sony.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's just Sony. Now, I mean, hang on. I will say this: that cast is incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Spider-Man is the only other Marvel character that can exist on his own.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, granted, we've seen how much the character benefits from being a fully integrated character in the Marvel universe and having everyone else, but he also has such a deep bench. Like, he is the only Marvel character that rivals DC's best in terms of Rogue
yeah.
Gallery. Because they were also all built individually and then over time merged together. And Spider-Man's the only one that really stepped up to, like, building out a fully fleshed out supporting cast. Because, like, it's also, like, the only drawback that I've ever noticed from Spider-Man is he kind of doesn't have any guy friends. It's just him and his ladies and all
That's
of his
true,
exes.
yeah.
But
Some
yeah,
of
but
them
he's got
dead.
like he's
got
got the
Harry
Daily
Osborn.
Bugle. Yeah, Harry Osborn.
dead.
yeah.
He just has a lot of dead people in his life.
No, Harry Osborn's alive again, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. They brought him back one more day.
Yeah, what I rather would see, don't do Venom, don't do Silver Sable and the Black Cat. They should do Spider-Verse. And you get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire is playing alternate universes. They all come together for a movie.
Bring back Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen.
Yes,
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
That would
Yeah.
be so cool.
That's like Emma Stone's casting and like Natalie Portman's casting are tragic in hindsight, considering what they've done with the characters since those
Yes.
movies.
Yeah, it's like a shame that Natalie Portman's done with Marvel because the idea of her leading a Thor movie would be really, really
Which,
amazing.
with Avengers like building the way it is like this is the perfect time to do that.
yeah.
To bestow upon her the powers of Thor. It would be freaking awesome.
But I am jazzed about what's next when Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, they decide to step down and not do films. What's the next transition in terms of, is it legacy characters? Is it, Sam Wilson or Bucky Barnes picking up the mantle of Captain America. How are they going to handle that transition? I'm really interested to see how they do that.
Well, it seems 2020 is like the turning point, right? This seems to be when
Yeah.
everything's sort of gonna
Well,
start.
they'll focus on Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man. So they'll just replace the Avengers. It'll be new Avengers.
So I'm curious because like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm starting to feel a bit of fatigue on this. Do you guys want this to end? Like, do you want it to have a definitive point where we're done with Marvel movies, or do you just want it to keep going and going and going
Until I die.
until you die?
I want this Avengers Infinity War to come to an end. I don't want Marvel films to end. I'd like to see what happens if we can get more films like Ragnarok or Spider-Man: Homecoming, where you can have other characters from the bigger universe pop in and out for as ever much, but not building towards like 17 films leading to one conclusion. I feel like I'm getting burnt out on just the wait to get to that film.
Yeah. Definitely, it feels like I want this story. It feels like it's telling a singular story, and I want that story to have a conclusion. But yeah, I agree with Frank. I want to see Marvel like start evolving into like what we're seeing with like New Mutants or like with Legion. I want to see Marvel basically hit the point that Fox did, which is like it's kind of not working. So let's take some real huge fucking swings. Because like we saw here, Marvel took a very calculated risk. They got a good director who knew the voice he wanted to hit, who knew the kind of humor he wanted to hit. He was very confident in it. But I want to see them really take, because like Logan is not only a different movie in terms of tone, but like even the plotting is different. The villains are different. Like it and like Deadpool, as much as it's fun, is still pretty a conventional movie.
Yeah.
And so I want to see when Marvel starts like, or even like when the Netflix shows have to become like Legion. Like I want to see Marvel start having to evolve into that and start making some more pure standalone entities in their films.
I guess maybe part of it for me too is that I'm not as excited about these. Like I remember when like the Avengers coming down, like I could not fucking wait for that movie because it seems to be amazing. And I think now we're getting 3 a year. You know, it's like in my mind, one of the few remaining franchises that has long gaps in between is like James Bond. I'm a huge James Bond fan. Like one of the cool things about that is like when it comes around, it's an event, right? Because it happens every 3, 4, depending on other shit, more years.
Depending on how much Daniel Craig hates everyone.
Yeah, depending on how much Daniel Craig doesn't want to do it, depending on lawsuits, all this other crap. But like the cool thing about it is that I get to look forward to it because there's time to wait. Like even Star Wars, like I'm really excited for Episode 8, but I'm also like, oh, that's like a month away, and I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Episode 7, I was super excited because it had been such a long time, and I guess like now it's like, oh, we just gotta wait a few months, and it'll be here.
Yeah. Well, and it's like that's what these series like. That's what Marvel needs to start looking at is how do we transition into Bond. That was one of the cool things I noticed them talking about in comparison with Spider-Man, and something they took upon themselves in this one is like, we don't always need to know what James Bond is. We don't need to always be introduced. Same with Spider-Man. We kind of get it. Bit by a spider, great power, great responsibility. Uncle Ben's dead. Got it. We know. And so, yeah, Marvel needs to start figuring out how do you become a 50-year-old franchise. James Bond went 50 years. How many? 27, 28 films that they hit?
It's 24 official canon films
And,
Never Say Never Again, which doesn't count. But I mean, that's one of the difference, right? It's like that's 24 films over 53 years. This is where what number was this? It says 17 in 9 years. Like,
Yeah.
But like no film of theirs is not open number one. So I mean, it's in terms of I feel like with mass audience appeal, like the demand is still there.
I hate to be the villain of this podcast, but we might have to continue this note in 2 weeks when we watch Justice League.
Oh,
Talk about fatigue. Whatever feelings you have, multiply it by 10, and that's how I feel about the DCEU 4 films in.
yeah. One thing I want to also talk about, like just the beginning of the Thor film, just like the first stretch, the pacing and the editing of it is just
Amazing.
It just everything just kind of just moves and moves and moves. I thought it was really the way that was put together was really interesting.
Yeah, I think Marvel needs to figure out how to do a third act.
Yes.
And I mean, and they're in it currently.
Without having just an army of mindless, faceless drones.
Yeah, and so but the fact that they're not only have that problem within their each individual films, but they're also currently in that mindset right now as everything's sort of concluding. Yeah, Marvel needs to figure out how to do a proper third act.
I would argue with Guardians in this, they need to figure out how to do a second act. That's like for me where it got really slow.
Yeah.
I feel like Spider-Man didn't really have that issue. I think Spider-Man kept a pretty quick pace.
But they also knew, like, they had other stuff to pull on, and they knew, like, the
Yeah.
world is worked for that. Like, Spider-Man was just another class.
Oh, homecoming class.
Well, I made the joke. I made the joke on Facebook. Like, I'm really looking forward to Spider-Man Junior Prom
Yes.
and Spider-Man Sadie Hawkins.
So, of course, you're talking about DCU. There's a big, tying it back to Chuck, of course, the big announcement that
right.
Zachary Levi is going to be Captain Marvel.
Shazam! Yeah.
Which, that's like, I just call him Captain Marvel. Don't call him Shazam.
Yeah.
It's so irritating. Are you excited?
I am torn. I love Zachary Levi, and we talked about this on our podcast. I love the picture that I'm painting in my head of Zachary Levi's face with like a Chris Evans or a Chris Hemsworth body. Looks great to me.
True.
The problem is, I mean, we know that Black Adam isn't going to be.
The Rock.
Yeah, well, yeah, we know he's
He's
going
not
to
gonna be the villain.
He's not going to be in the first Captain Marvel Shazam movie, but whenever they're going to have to meet eventually, and that image of him standing next to the Rock, no matter how big he gets, he's still going to look so tiny.
Very true. Which, I mean, I guess could play. It's like all of a sudden he's met this guy that's, has his powers longer and is just super jacked.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you're right. I feel like, man, just live. Zach Levi is just going to be living in the gym for the next 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also because, like, he was based on Fred McMurray. That's the original,
Yeah.
like, who Captain Marvel was based on. And so it's kind of funny to see, like, now, like, we got the Hollywood sexing him up, and it's Zach Levi.
Was anybody thinking, like, I was like, wow, that is such a choice that I would not, if you would tell me, like, list 10 people you think would play Captain Marvel, I would not have picked him.
It's kind of a Chris Evans pick. I feel
Very
like
Yeah.
he's, because that's kind of what Captain Marvel is. He's sort of the Chris Evans Captain America, wholesome,
And-
kinda, even more so.
And I will say this about the DC films, for as much as I shit on them, and I do that a lot. They,
Check back in 2 weeks, folks.
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, this is a preview. They are pretty damn good at their casting, though.
Yeah. I feel like Henry Cavill, a little bit of a misstep.
Slightly,
Yeah.
but
But they knew what they wanted, and they cast Henry Cavill because he delivered it. I just think probably my whole thing is just like the characterization they went with. But
Cyborg, the jury's out on Cyborg, but I don't know if that has any opinion about the actor or just that I don't feel like that version of the character deserves to be in the Justice League.
Yeah. So I want us to hit the big pause button. I think we need to do sign-offs really quick, and we will continue all of these points
yeah,
in 2 weeks when we have more evidence to back up what we're talking about.
Oh, it's better to just make wild speculations and judgments without seeing anything.
but yeah. Frank, want to kick off our goodbyes?
Guys, it's been a pleasure sitting around you, broing out a couple hours.
We should have brought some beers,
That's
like
right.
a little 6-pack.
Yeah, we got all worn adult diapers. It's been a great time.
Took our shirts off, greased up.
I'm already wearing an adult diaper.
Ah, all right.
I say we need like some nice denim jackets.
I do the Novice and Frank podcast with my lovely and talented and freshly married, as Trevor was saying, co-host Amanda Barnes, who is not. She's on Barnes Writes, so on social media. So follow her on there. You can follow
Like
me.
writing with a pen or writes like civil rights.
Writing with a pen with a W Brights. And then you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Check me out, the Novice and Frank.
Awesome.
You can find our podcast. I don't do this. At Timm Talk Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and we have a Gmail that we check occasionally. You can find me personally at CamDexter_adventures. If you want to see my art, it's Cameron.Dexter. I'll make something eventually.
Cameron, I'm really impressed. You seem very stressed at that, and you did it flawlessly. You got everything right. And
God, that was very stressful.
yeah, he did it. Cameron does no work on our own podcast. I have to do everything. So I was making you do that to see if you could get through your way through, and you could. And I am at Lordifer. That's it. That's all I got, guys.
All right. Fimbres, why don't you tell everyone about where they can find us?
At the next Grandmaster orgy.
Yeah.
I already got my ship picked out.
Also,
It's blue.
Twitter at PO2W_Flash.
Boom.
And
Where can they email us, Chris?
email at podcast 2 worlds. The number 2
at
gmail.com. As I was saying before fucking Trevor interrupted me.
I'm
Jeez.
sorry, were you not an independent track? So we can edit that out.
That was the most intense eye contact I've ever seen between two people.
I was trying to get his thoughts in my brain.
And where can they find you personally on Twitter, Chris?
You can't.
Fair enough. I am at Trevor Copter on all the personal Instagram, social media stuff. And yeah, this has been the penultimate of 2017, the Nerdist School Network crossover event. As we've already said, we already have 2018 planned out, but we're coming in strong in friggin' 2 weeks for Justice League to wrap up 2017. We'll probably give like a year wrap up along with the episode.
Yeah, we
Can
might
we
as
do a
well.
bonus episode on The Last Jedi?
I was just thinking that actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Answer that now.
Can we
Yes.
just like book the booth for 3 hours? Just
All right, yeah. So that's this might not be the next to last Nerdist School Network crossover podcast. I'm down for that. Freaking oh my god, Last Jedi is gonna be so good. So good. But all right, since Chris and I were sort of the leads of this episode of our crossover, I was wondering if you guys would like to conclude the way we always do by saying speedweed in unison. If you guys would join us on that.
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So we can time this right.
All right, everyone. I'll give a countdown because we have new people here, so we'll give a countdown. 1, 2, 3.
Speedweed.
Hey guys, and welcome to At Least There's This. Nope, that's not. Why, that's not welcome. This is an advertisement. Hi guys, this is an advertisement, so you're not welcome to At Least There's This. Ad. Hi guys. The world can really suck sometimes, right? There are neo-Nazis who just, exist, and North Korea is doing its whole North Korea thing. But at least there's love, and plants, and dog fostering, and the Christmas truce of 1914. So join me every, probably Tuesday, for a new episode of At Least There's This, where I bring on a insightful or funny or just good friend to talk to me about some of the silver linings in our gross world of hurt. Oh, and because I forgot to mention, I'm on the Nerdist School Network. This is me on my phone now because I'm forgetful. Oh, and also my name is Alex Schiffman. That's who I am, so I just forgot to mention that for most of this ad, and I'm pretty sure that's important. Look me up.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.